everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Pearblossom Press video. Today we're going to get a little ambitious. We're going to try and do a triple interactive. We're going to use our easy lights. These are going to be fabulous for what I want. We're also going to use the new Snap and Slide along with the sticky spots that go with those. Those go hand in hand, so you need those. Now, I did bring in this stamp set. I have not been able to find it anymore, but I did find something similar. This one is called the Shake Your Bones stamp set, but I did find something similar on scrapbook.com called Tricks, Treats, and Spooky Sweets, so I'll have that linked down below. Then we also do need a small circle die. And then we have this paper. This is the Tim Holtz Idea-ology Worn Wallpaper Scraps Halloween. We've got some white embossing, white pigment ink, and then some glow-in-the-dark embossing powder. So let's go ahead and stamp out our images. I'm going to bring in the Pearblossom Press Black Sentiment Stock. This stuff is my absolute favorite if you want to do any sort of embossing. I typically use it only for sentiments, but we do need our skeletons as well. So I'm going to put a piece of this into my Mini Misty. I'm going to get everything ready to do the embossing. We'll use our anti-static powder tool, and then we'll use our magnets to hold everything down. And then we'll grab out the images that we want. Now I'm going to pick 3 of these because I have 3 lights on there. You could just do 1 light. All you'd have to do is just trim off 2 of the lights and you'd only need the 1. But we're going to do 3 because I'm just that ambitious today, I guess. I don't know. So we've got 3 skeletons, a hat, which we don't use, a bow tie, and a sentiment, and we're going to stamp that down. We ink that up with some shark tooth white pigment ink, and then we're going to cover that with the Ranger Glow Up Glow in the Dark powder, and believe me, it works, and it works really, really well. So I'm going to heat set this. Now this stuff is a little bit harder to tell when it's heat set. Sorry, I'm kind of off screen. I was really having to pay attention. It isn't like white embossing powder where it'll go from like powder to shiny. This goes a little bit matte, maybe a tiny bit shiny, but that's how it looks. I'm telling you, it glows really, really well. And I do like that it doesn't alter the white ink too much. So this stuff is fabulous. I did stamp out 2 more bows, and I didn't like how my shake, rattle, and roll stamped, so I re-stamped that one. But now we're going to bring in the matching dies that go along with it, and we'll tack that down with a little bit of mint tape, and once we have that for everything, we'll run that through our die cutting machine, and we'll have all of our pieces. So take a look at how cute they look, all die cut out. I love the little bones. They're darling. And then I do want to put their little bow ties on their neck, so I'm just using a drop of glue and my pickup stick to put each of their bow ties on their neck. So cute. Yeah, big fan. And then once all of those are done, we can get ready to pick out some paper. Now, I don't know if you can get this stuff anywhere. I just highly suggest that you go through your stash of papers, find something that works for you. We all have tons of paper, right? So dig into it, use up that paper. I guarantee you'll feel good using it. And that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to trim down this one. I liked the red stripes on it, and I like how weathered it is. So we did trim this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so just slightly smaller than the front of an A2 size card. And I'm going to distress those edges with this little distressor tool I have. The side of scissors will work really well for that also, but I happen to have this tool. I have another one too, but I found this one recently, and so I was like, this one works great as well. So I'm just going to really rough up those edges, and you'll see it makes a little bit of a papery mess. I'll just throw that away. And then I am going to bring in the black soot ink pad along with my blending brush, and we're just going to blend those edges. I didn't want that stark whiteness, so I'm going to distress up those edges with the black soot. And then I take it even a step further. I use some scissors and I cut little triangles in 3 of the sides. That will give it a look of like torn paper without actually tearing it. And then I'll rough up those edges just a tiny bit. And then we'll go in with our blending brush and the ink that's already on our mat, and we'll just make it so it's a little less white, nice and distressed. Okay, now we need to decide where our little skeletons are going to go. And so here's where I've got them. I did bring in a 1/2 inch circle die that I had. That one came from the Clean Cut Layers Circle Set A that I have. Go through your stash of circle dies. I'm sure you can find something. I used the circle die and not the hole punch that I have because I needed it to kind of go in further on the paper. So I'm marking where their heads are. That's where I'm going to cut those other circles. We'll run that through our die cutting machine, and then we have our 3 circles. This next part I do is completely unnecessary, but because I'd never done this before, I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure if that paper was going to show through. It does not, so this was a waste, but you know, it's okay. So I'm just basically putting those circles right back in where I die cut them out, just so that they're attached to the black panel that's behind it, because we are going to have that little black panel behind our skeletons. Next up, I'm going to get my Easy Light ready. Now the Easy Light has 3 lights to it, 3 little bulbs, and all you need is the light and your battery. Just pop that in with the plus side up. Make sure everything's good, and it works great. So next up is bringing in the little snap and slide. I'm going to need 3 of these, obviously. I have 3 holes, and we have 3 lights, and so we're going to use 3 of them. Your package is going to come with 10. Basically, it's 20 pieces. You snap them together. You put the 1 piece on the back, snap the top onto it, and take a look at that. The 1/2-inch circle works perfectly. It gives it plenty of room to move around, and you don't have to worry about them popping through the hole. All right, so all 3 of them are on there, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to work it from behind. We're going to take our light, and we're going to work it in from the back. And I'm using some tape. You could use washi tape. I've just got this clear Scotch tape. And I learned pretty quickly that you do want to make sure that your light has a little bit of wiggle room. So you need it to have, just don't make it so tight on the back is my point. Like, use the tape. Obviously you need to use the tape, but you just want to make sure that your wire has a little bit of room to move. At this point, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to work, but I was determined to make it work. So I'll bring in one of the little sticky spots. Like I said, these go really well. These are basically hand in hand with the snap and slide. And so I'll just take one of them, and I'm going to put it right on to the snap and slide. And then I'm going to stick my light on the top of that, right kind of in the middle with the light sticking up. And we're going to attach just our skeleton's head, but I'm poking holes through his eyes so that the lights show through. So I'll stick him down. Yes, the mechanism shows a little bit, the little snap and slide, but I'm not that worried about it. It's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. And so yeah, everything works. You can see his little eyes light up. I do love that. It's fabulous. He's not sliding super great at this point, so I'm going to work with that wire a little bit. What I found that worked best for me was to wind it around the back of that, or the middle of your snap and slide, just a little bit. And then of course, make sure that you have room for your wire to move around a little bit. Just make sure it's not real tight. That's all. And then, so you can see I'm loosening that up. I wrap it around a couple times, and then I just loosen up that wire. And we're going to do the same thing for all 3 of those snap and slides and the Easy Light. So there, I give it some room, and our little, he's moving around pretty good. And he still lights up, so that's a plus. All right, making progress. I don't know why I do these super ambitious ones, but once I figure it out, I just want to show you. I just, you know, that way if you want to get ambitious, you can do it too. Because if somebody's already paved the way, played around, maybe made the mistakes, then it makes it a little bit easier. So here I'm winding that around the snap and slide in the center. I'll use the little sticky spot, and we'll attach our light down to the center, making sure the light is sticking up. All right, then it's ready for our skeleton. So we've poked holes in his eyes as well. And then I'm going to be real loose with all of my wires back there. I just want to make sure that they have plenty of room to shake around. No hindrances. And we do have to do this a little bit differently. Oftentimes I attach my mechanism to the panel and we go from there. But in this case, we need to attach it after the fact. So it's still kind of flopping around, as you can see. I'm bringing in the World's Best foam tape. And especially on this, I was so nervous that I'm so glad I have this World's Best foam tape, because this stuff just makes it so simple. And then I'll put a little bit in the middle Just want to make sure it doesn't collapse in there. And then we're going to use some double-sided adhesive on the back of our battery mechanism. Peel off all of our release papers because we're about ready to stick it down to the black panel. Yep, making sure all of those wires have plenty of room to move around. And we've avoided the snap and slides. So now we can attach this down. Being careful, grab that mechanism, make sure that goes down and attaches to your black panel. And look at how fun they move and it lights up. Oh my goodness. We're going to glue down our sentiment, which just says shake, rattle, and roll. This just makes me so happy. I love when an idea comes together. All right, then we've got our card base ready to go. That was a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of white cardstock that I scored at 4 1/4. And then we'll just put glue all over the back of our black panel. We do need to stamp out the press or push, whatever you decide to do, but I'm grabbing in the Pearblossom Press stamp set and same process, stamped it on the black sentiment stock, and I'm going to make it glow. And then for the inside of the card, we're going to stamp another sentiment. This one says, I thought you'd find this card humorous. And then we'll stamp one more skeleton. I'm so happy with this card. And I'm just so happy that it turned out. Nobody wants to waste their time. So I can tell you, it can be done. You saw it happen. All right. And then that's actually going to finish off our card. I so love how this turned out. I did splatter some black paint on that wallpaper later after I was done, but take a look at that. Now let's go show you how it looks glowing and shaking and lighting up. Oh, it makes me so happy. And I hope you like this too. If you do, please hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. All the things I used will be linked down below. Be sure to check out all that Pearblossom Press has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you soon.